Good afternoon. It is Monday, March the 16th, and I wanted to give you an update on our 2020 Lenten journey from Tucker First United Methodist Church. 3 weeks ago, we began this Lenten season with a lot of enthusiasm and energy as we began a lot of new connection groups in our church. From the very first week that those groups met, we heard a lot of positive feedback about the impact the groups were making in people's lives. But then last week, we, along with churches all over the country, faced the unprecedented reality of the need to suspend worship and small group meetings because of the coronavirus issues. And at this moment, we are living in very challenging days of uncertainty, and it leaves us asking, what is our path moving forward? I've been talking with our church staff and ministerial team here at Tucker First, and we have been addressing those very issues and wanted to send out some information of where we are at this time. Recently, I have been looking at some books from Dr. James Fleming. One of his books is entitled Darkness and Light, A Message of Hope. The other book I've been looking at is Lessons About God from the Land of the Bible. Both of these books by Dr. Fleming address some issues about Lent and this journey that we are on during the Lenten season. In his books, Dr. Fleming points out that Israel contains two big deserts, the Sinai Desert and the Sahara. And we remember the story of Jesus beginning his ministry with a 40-day journey into the wilderness, into the desert. That journey by Jesus formed the foundation of our 40-day journey into the Lenten season. Down through the ages, Christians have intentionally made a pilgrimage into the desert as a Lenten discipline. And as we gather at this time, a part of the questions that we face is, what is it that draws people into the desert? What is it about that unpredictable nature of life in the desert that opens up opportunities for spiritual formation? Dr. Fleming points out in his books that life in the desert can be a life of silence and loneliness. It is a place of uncertainty. And in some ways, those experiences remind us of how little we really need a life of comfort and ease. They tend to remind us of how much we can be driven by our wants in unnecessary ways. I'd like to invite you to listen to one of the quotes from Dr. Fleming in his book. He writes, "If one looks at Israelite history, it is difficult to live an authentic and virtuous life on the easy, predictable side. There is something about the wilderness experience that helps us understand how much we need God in our lives." Dr. Fleming points out in his books that of the 350 cities that are referenced in the Bible, 300 of those are located on the edge of the wilderness. Of the 1,900-year history from Abraham until the time that the temple was destroyed in 70 AD, 1,750 years of that time frame take place in the places around the desert or the edge of the desert. Only 150 years of that 1,900-year history takes place on the fertile coastal plains where life is more predictable and easier. Lent often involves a journey into the wilderness. It involves a season of silence, of solitude, and unpredictability. The events that we are facing in the world at this time surrounding the coronavirus are things that have placed us in a wilderness. So one of the questions that we face at this time is, how can the reality in which we are living in at this moment, the times of solitude and the times of loneliness that we face, lead us into spiritual formation in our lives? How can this be a pilgrimage of maturing in our journey with God? Our church staff has been discussing those very issues in depth. Tomorrow, we are going to be sending out some information about the logistical components of how we plan to move forward. We are going to be making some suggestions about activities that families can do in their homes around the themes of worship and discipleship and even leisure relaxation. We will be sending out a schedule tomorrow of the days and times that you can expect to hear correspondence from us. Our actions and our recommendations at this time come with much prayer from us, but they also come with recommendations from professional organizations. At this time, not only are we suspending our worship services, but we are also officially canceling all small groups that meet within our church, and we will not be promoting those small group events on church correspondence. Until we get information to you tomorrow, we would like for you this evening to be focusing on the following things. First of all, please know that you are in our prayers at this time. If you are facing issues in your life around prayer needs, please let us know about those things. All of the church staff can be reached by phone or by email, and we want to know the things that are going on in your lives at this time. We want to hear what you are facing. While we are in this desert wilderness experience, we do encourage you to look for ways that this can be a time of spiritual formation in our lives, ways that we can use this time of solitude and isolation for us to grow in our journey with God. And we will be sending out some suggestions of how that can take place. We also ask you to please pray for the church staff as we are in prayer for you. We will continue to lift up all of the basic things that you have been hearing for a while now. Wash your hands regularly. Don't touch your face and eyes. If you sneeze into a tissue or your elbow. Maintain a safe distance from other people. Usually that involves around 3 feet. In certain locations, the recommendation is 6 feet away from other people. If you feel ill, stay at home. And even if you are well, we encourage you to stay home unless it's absolutely necessary for you to be out. As you are in our prayers, we invite you to be in prayer for us, and please know that the messages we send out our blessings for God to bless you in this time until we get through this season. We pray that this can be a time for us to grow in our journey with God. God bless you at this moment and in the remainder of this Lenten season and moving forward.